Welcome everyone. Today I thought I'd try something new and try a full-length video instead of the shorts like I normally do. And we're going to start out today by making some neutral colored earrings. Uh, the way we're starting out is I chose three colors. I chose a brown and sort of a beigey color or an off-white, I don't know what you want to call it, and then I mixed in a gold. And we're going to take those all and just stack them on top of each other, roll them through the pasta machine several times. Then we're going to clean off our edges so that we'll be able to roll it up into a nice jelly roll. Just remember, the good thing about polymer clay is it's so forgiving. The important thing is just have some fun with what you're doing. While I do have an idea in my head of what I'm wanting to do, I rarely stick to that. I just go with whatever I feel like doing. And you know what? Sometimes it turns out good and sometimes it's really bad. But that's okay. Each time I'm learning something new. And there's no exact way to do things. Sure, there's recommendations of how you can do things and the way you can ensure that it's probably going to turn out better, but it sure is a lot more fun just to play around with things as you go. So here I got everything all cleaned up. I beveled my edge so I can start rolling it up into a nice little roll. Now, I'm aiming for a pattern, and I don't really want my pattern to be perfect. I'm wanting it to be more organic. So I'm not being super careful how I roll these up, but I am trying to keep it rolled tightly so there's not a bunch of holes in my jelly roll, as you can see. And then when we get it all finished up, we'll just, trim off our edges. There we go. Just smooth that little seam a little bit. Not really that important because that seam is not going to show anyway with our final project. So we clean it up there, and then we're going to just roll it a little bit, sort of get everything together and get all those holes out in the middle. We just keep on doing that until we think it's, the way you want it. Just pick it up and look at it every once in a while and see if that's what you like. If it's not what you like, then you can roll it again. You might even want to twist it some and give it a different shape. Just go with what you feel like. So I've got it all rolled here, and like I said, I'm wanting a shape, so I'm just sort of taking this little popsicle stick and I'm just pushing in the sides. I'm doing it 4 times, sort of on each side. So while it looks sort of like a flower design, it really is not going to look like that in my final product. Then I'm just squishing them all back together. Again, I'm not really worried about these seams because they're not going to show. Now, sort of at this point, if you wanted to, and you wanted to add some other colors, you could actually take a thin layer of clay and just roll it around the whole thing. That's not what I'm wanting today, though. I'm just trying to keep them a neutral color because I want some neutral colored earrings in my shop. I usually go for bright colors. That's really my thing. But we gotta keep some neutrals in there. I was wearing an outfit the other day that was mostly brown, and while normally I'd put something bright with that so I'd have a pop of color, this particular day I was really just wanting to keep it sort of subtle, and I didn't really have anything to wear with them. And that really got me to thinking, you need to make some. So that's what we're doing. So I rolled it out into this square shape, just sort of shaped it with my fingers. And now this is my clay slicer because honestly, I just can't slice even slices to save my life. My husband says I have a crooked eye, and like anytime I do something, it always seems to be off a little bit. So we're just going to slice, and I put my finger down there just to sort of hold things in place so it's not moving around. I did let it sit out for quite a while, probably like an hour before I even started slicing it because it is way too warm and it would have been really squishy and it would have deformed the shape a lot had I just went ahead and started slicing as soon as I got finished. So we're just going to slice this all up, and then when we get through, we're just going to make a nice pretty slab out of it that I can cut my earrings. And like I said, just, you know, even at this point, if you're looking at it and you're saying, oh, that's really not what I had in mind, just pick it back up, squish it back together, and do something else. Just have fun with it. Don't be afraid to have a little fun. That's what is so great about working with polymer clay. Like, there's just so many things you can make, and you can, every little thing you do makes a different kind of design, and you might have intended on doing one thing and end up with something totally different. Like I said, I did have this, sort of shape in mind before I started. I knew what I wanted, but as I go, generally, I'll change it up a little bit. I'll realize something may look better, or I may not like the way it was going, and I'll just start all over. There's no point keep going if you don't like it, or you're not feeling it, or you don't like the colors. Just start over and have fun. Try something new. There's so many videos out there that show you different techniques and different ways to do everything, and they're all great. You should, experiment and try them all. Just have a little fun. Now, I have to admit, when I was making these, I was thinking, oh, these colors look sort of blah. I'm not really sure about it. But I kept in mind that I really am a person of color. Like, I love bright colors. And I'm also going to resin these. And since there is some metallic gold in here, I think once I put the resin on, it is really going to make this pop. And I think it's really going to be pretty at the end. So we're just going to keep on going and cross our fingers and hope that it's going to turn out like I think it will. And these are just going to be my little retro circle shapes because honestly, that's what my Etsy shop is known for. Almost like, while I love making other earrings and I do some different shapes, the retro style is what sells for me. So I try to make almost every earring, even though I make it in some other styles. I try to make them all available in the retro style. And I have customers that buy them in every color, and you would think they might get tired of that same old shape, but the ones who they like them, and they keep coming back and back. And they get them in different colors, they get them in different styles and different patterns. And I am so grateful that they love them as much as I do. So once I got these all together, then I roll it through the pasta machine, get it to the thickness that I want my earrings. And I have a couple of holes there where I sort of pieced them together, so I'm just sort of rubbing those together with my fingers. Even though by the time I put the resin on the top, it's really not going to matter. I mean, you may be able to see a little hole, but it'll be filled in with some resin, and it'll sort of be like a part of the pattern. But we're going to do it just for the heck of it. And as you can see, this pattern is basically, when you do patterns, sometimes they're not the same on the front as the back, but these are the same. So I'm going to put this in some paper, and this is just plain copy paper, and trim it up, and then I'm going to run it through the pasta machine like this one more time, just because I want it to even it out, and I want it to be perfectly smooth. And there we go. That's our final little slab. So we're going to take our cutters, and we're going to cut this out now. And I do the retro styles in several sizes because, some people like big earrings and some people like smaller. And so we're just going to do them in all different sizes, and that way people have choices. They can choose the size that they want. And I'm not going to make multiple sizes when I first start out. I'm just going to make like one of each one, and I'll see how they sell. And if they're not a bit, I usually like to leave them in there for a while because some things they don't sell right away, and it takes them a while. And then other times, they'll just take off right away, and you're like, I didn't think those were going to sell like that, and they just go crazy. So, but we'll just start out small, and as you can see, these are cutters that I have made. I made them for my own personal use, and I just put a little hole in there, and that hole is not my final hole. It's really just a marking because I will actually drill through that little marking so that I have a smooth hole. But when I make the cutters, I go ahead and put that hole in there. That way I know that it's exactly centered and it's exactly the right place that I want it. All right, and we've about got these done. After we get them cut out, then I'm going to put it in and I'm going to bake them at 275 degrees for about 40 minutes. I think that should be plenty as they're on the thinner side. And then I'll sand them where they need to be sanded. I'll drill my hole and I will cover them with a layer of resin. And this is what they end up looking like, and I really love these. They turned out really beautiful, and that resin really brought out the gold color. But thank you guys for watching today, and I hope you learned a little something that'll help you along your polymer clay journey. I'll see you next time.